¿Este viene siendo el cuarto video o el video número 4? Ese es el tema de este episodio de Spanish Dojo. Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Spanish Dojo, where we're working to hone your Spanish speaking skills and make you sound more like a native speaker. In today's episode, we'll be talking about cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers. Now, what are these? Well, cardinal numbers are pretty straightforward. They're just the numbers you use to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. Ordinal numbers, as the name suggests, place things in order or in a certain ranking. So they would be numbers like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc. Okay. Now, Spanish has both cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers, but they treat ordinal numbers a little bit differently than how we treat them in English, so you need to be aware of some differences here. In short, basically, it's okay to use ordinal numbers in Spanish up to number 10, okay, or 10th, as it were. Once you get above the 10th, you really just need to recast your sentence and use cardinal numbers instead. Okay, and this is not me trying to get you to avoid something you should be learning how to do. It's not a cop-out. This is the way native Spanish speakers speak. They rarely ever, if ever, use ordinal numbers above 10. So it's just, they'll sound very unnatural and very unwieldy if you try to use them. So you may go through a lot of work trying to figure out these ordinal numbers only to find out nobody uses them anyway and they don't sound natural. Okay. One example of where you might see a larger ordinal number is one of my favorite books, which is the Diccionario de la Lengua Española by the Real Academia Española. And you'll notice below this colored block here, it has a line that says 22ª edición, which means 22nd edition. Now, this is one of those larger ordinal numbers, but there's a reason this stands out to me, and that is that it's so rare. It doesn't get used that often. If it did, that wouldn't really stand out to me in any way. But I bring it up just because it kind of stands out as an oddity. Okay? And you'll notice the type of situation or the type of context it's being used in is one in which they're looking for this formal, flowery language, right? But in everyday conversation, nobody uses these large ordinal numbers. Okay? So let's look at an example. I think one good way to illustrate this is the floors of a building. In English, when we number the floors of a building, we use ordinal numbers for that. First floor, second floor, third floor, on up to 54th floor, 99th floor, 100th floor, whatever. But they're all ordinal numbers. In Spanish, this is okay up to the 10th floor. So you could say primer piso, segundo piso, tercer piso, so on and so forth, all the way up to décimo piso. But once you get past that 10th floor, it's going to sound really odd if you keep using ordinal numbers after that. So once you pass 10, switch it around and use cardinal numbers instead. So for example, if you got to the 54th floor, you don't want to say el 54º piso and produce this monstrosity of an ordinal number that no one's going to use or be familiar with anyway. Okay? Instead of saying 54th floor, flip it around, use the cardinal, and just say floor 54. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Likewise, if you got to the 99th floor or the 100th floor, don't try to put those in ordinal numbers. Flip them and just say floor 99, floor 100. El piso 99, el piso 100. Okay? That's really the more natural way to do it. Okay? Now, another place this might stand out, or another slight difference between English and Spanish, is in the days of the month. Days of the month in English are always ordinal, and it doesn't really matter if you put the day first or the month first, they're still ordinal, right? So you can say the 10th of December or December 10th, they're still ordinal. It's still the 10th, not the 10, right? This is different in Spanish. Days of the month in Spanish should be cardinal numbers, not ordinal numbers. So you wouldn't say the 10th of December. You would say el 10 de diciembre, the 10 of December, right? El 5 de diciembre, the 5 of December, okay, literally speaking, okay? Now there's one exception to that, and that is the first day of the month. So regardless of what month it is, the first day is an ordinal number, el 1 de diciembre, el 1 de marzo, el 1 de julio, whatever it is, the first day is primero, first. Once you get above the first, 2 on up, should be cardinal. El 2 de diciembre, el 3 de diciembre, el 4 de diciembre. Notice I'm using cardinal numbers, not ordinal numbers. And that's the way days of the month work in Spanish. They're different from English. Okay. Another place you might notice a slight divergence, although it's not as big a deal, is in grades, like school grades. So a child in English might say, I'm in 5th grade, right? And in that case, we would use the ordinal number. In Spanish, I've heard it go both ways. Sometimes you might hear a child say, voy en el 5º grado. Sometimes you might say, voy en el grado 5. So either way, I'm in 5th grade or I'm in grade 5. And a lot of times the word grade may even be omitted. And he'll say something like, voy en el 5º or voy en el 5. I'm in 5th, I'm in 5, either one. So that could go either way, neither one's wrong. Slight difference. But in summary, really just remember a couple things here. Number one, wherever it's necessary to use ordinals, go ahead and use them, but only use them up to 10. Once you get past 10, you need to figure out a way to recast your sentence so that you can use a cardinal number, and just forget about trying to use the long monstrosities of ordinal numbers that actually exist but are never used. Okay. And then the second rule is just be mindful of the fact that there are some places in Spanish that will differ in the way they treat cardinals and ordinals than the way it's done in English. Primarily days of the month and maybe in grades in school and maybe a few other pockets here and there. But that's pretty much it. If this video was helpful to you, hit that like button. And if you want a lot more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. I should be putting out videos fairly regularly. If you're watching this after 2019, there should be a link in the description to my book, where there will be a lot more topics like this and even more. So go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks.